Hey guys, I wanted to do a walkthrough video on some of these things that are going to be on your test tomorrow. This is an important thing to keep in mind always, that the slope is always what happens to y when x goes up by 1. It's just a really good thing to lock away and to remember about slope. So if you're not sure, you can always kind of go back to that. Here are the answers to the first question. 0,250 is our y-intercept. It means that we're 250 miles from Vegas when we begin this trip. Nope, it's not proportional. It does not go through the origin. The slope is negative 25. We're going 25 miles an hour closer to Vegas every hour. The x-intercept 10, 0. It means that after 10 hours, we'll be 0 miles from Vegas. This means we have arrived after a very long drive. And since we're only going 25 miles an hour, to me, I think we're stuck in traffic on the way to Vegas. Here's the water temperature. The y-intercept 0 to 212. Means that when we begin, the water temperature is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Nope, again, not proportional. Slope of negative 40 means the water is cooling down 40 degrees Fahrenheit per hour. X-intercept 5.3 means that the water reaches 0 degrees, which is freezing temperature, after 5.3 hours. 0.3 hours is not 30 minutes. 0.3 hours is 18 minutes because it's 0.3 times 60 minutes. That would be 18 minutes. And I was just thinking, we did an experiment in Ms. Schwartz's class to see how long it would take for water to go from boiling and freezing to freezing if we put it in a freezer. Here's another one. You can look at this one yourself. I'm not going to talk through it. The next few I'm going to walk through step by step for people that just want to kind of understand what's going on. So here we go. We're talking about our grade on Friday's math test. The y-intercept is right here. The y-intercept is right here. It is 0, 30. What does it mean in the context of this problem? It means that if you study for 0 hours, you'll get a 30% on the test. So 0 hours studied, 30% on the test, since this is in percents. The y-intercept is always where you should begin. Try to remember that. The y-intercept is always where you begin. So when you begin studying, meaning you have studied for 0 hours, if you went and took the test right then, you'd probably get about 30%. No, this is not a proportional relationship because it doesn't go through the origin. It does have a positive slope, though. The slope in this case is 7. What I did was go from 30, since this is 0, 30, I went up 70 over 10. Up 70 over 10 equals positive 7. That's our slope. What does it mean in the context of the problem? It means that for every 1 hour you study, your grade will go up by 7%. Remember, the slope is always what happens to y when x goes up by 1. So it's what happens to our percentage grade on the math test when hours studied goes up by 1. So since it's 7, it means 7%. There's no x-intercept in this problem. There is, but it would be way back over here. It'd be on this side of the graph. Therefore, it doesn't really make any sense. It would be like, it would have to do with negative hours studied. It would tell us how many hours we would need to study to get a 0% on the test, but that doesn't make sense because even if we didn't study at all, we're going to get a 30%. So there's no x-intercept to discuss really in this problem. Let's look at another one, Josh's car trip. This one's very similar to the Vegas trip. Y-intercept is 0, 160, which means when we begin this thing, we're 160 miles, or whoever's driving, I think it's Josh, he's 160 miles from home. Does it show a proportional relationship? No, it does not. Also, let's remember, the y-intercept is always where we begin. The y-intercept is where we begin. So we're beginning, so at 0 hours, we're 160 miles from Josh's home. So when we start our drive, Josh is 160 miles from home. No, this is not a proportional relationship. The line doesn't go through the origin. The slope is always what happens to y when x goes up by 1. So when time goes up by 1, it looks like we're going to get 40 miles closer to home. I just calculated by going down 160 over to the right 4. So the slope is negative 40, which means for every 1 hour, Josh gets 40 miles closer to his home. In other words, he's going 40 miles an hour towards home. I'm going to correct this right here. What's the x-intercept here? That looks like this point right here. The x-intercept is where this line crosses the x-axis. Oops, sorry. And let's remember again that the slope is always what happens to y when x goes up by 1. The x-intercept is 4, 0. That means with Josh, we'll arrive home after 4 hours of driving. And also remember that the x-intercept is always whatever x would be when y equals 0. So since y is the number of miles from Josh's home, if y was 0, it means we would be 0 miles from Josh's home, and that would happen after 4 hours, which means this trip is going to take 4 hours. I just made this up. Josh is stuck in traffic driving home from Santa Barbara, only going 40 miles an hour. I think Santa Barbara is a little bit closer than 160 miles away from LA, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's look at this one, this Yeezy problem. What's the y-intercept? 0, 0. It means that if 0 is right here. It means if 0 pairs of Red Octobers are sold, no money changes hands. You could also say if you have 0 pairs of Yeezys, you have 0 money, 0 thousands of dollars. So you can say it both of those ways. What it means is that no money, like if you have no Red Octobers, you have no money. Basically, those two things go together, whether you're buying them or selling them or whatever. The y-intercept is always where we begin. So right here, we're beginning with 0 pairs of Yeezys, and we have $0 at that point. The line is proportional because it goes through the origin, for sure. The slope is positive 20. I took these 2 points. I went up 20. I always start at 0, 0 just because it's so much easier. I go up 20 over 4. So positive 20 over positive 4 equals positive 5. And again, remember the slope is always what happens to y when x goes up by 1. So it looks like y is going up by 5,000 since it's in thousands every time x goes up by 1. So you can say that it means that 1 pair of Red Octobers is selling for $5,000, or if I sell 1 pair, I get $5,000, or you could say they cost $5,000. Any of those would work. The x-intercept is always whatever x would be when y equals 0. In a proportional relationship, it's the same as the y-intercept, 0, 0. It means that if 0 pairs of Red Octobers are sold, no money changes hands. So remember, in a proportional graph, the x-intercept and the y-intercept are the exact same point, 0, 0. Just a story that I came up with means these shoes are crazy, exorbitantly expensive, $5,000 per pair, so I will not be buying any. I would walk through these problems a couple times just to make sure you know how to do them, and hopefully you do well on your test tomorrow.